What is your name, please?
My name is Winnie Gould.
My name is Winnie Gould.
My name is Winnie Gould.
Only one of these ladies is the real Winnie Gould. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Dina Merrill, Johnny Carson, and Peggy Cass. On To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Salem Cigarettes. Good evening, panel.
Hiya, Bud.
Hello,
I'm
Bud.
fine. Would you open up your envelopes for the first time, take out your affidavit cards, and follow along on this first one as I read it to you. I, Winnie Gould, am a salad chef turned nightclub singer. I was working in Ben Blue's restaurant in California when the regular vocalist got sick. Mr. Blue, who knew I was an amateur singer, brought me out of the kitchen in my uniform and asked me to perform. The audience liked it. After that, I did both salads and songs until actor Dan Daly, who was visiting the restaurant, asked me to join his nightclub act. We played Las Vegas and also appeared for 6 weeks in London. Soon I expect to go back to Ben Blue's club, this time as the star. Just songs, no salads. Signed, Winnie Gould. All right, ladies, when you get yourselves seated comfortably. Panel, you heard each of these charming ladies claiming to be Winnie Gould, nightclub singer, salad chef, etc. So let's begin our first round of questioning tonight with Tom Poston. Tom?
With old me, Bud?
With old you, little old you.
Well, I'd like to ask number 3 if other members of Ben's restaurant staff ever work on the show.
Oh, yes. He has singing waiters, singing waitresses, singing bartenders. Everybody works, actually.
Thank you. And number 2, where is Ben's restaurant nightclub?
Wilshire Boulevard, Santa Monica, California.
And what is the name of his place?
Ben Blue Supper Club.
Thank you. Number 1, what is Bib or Bib?
I don't know.
Do you happen to know number 3? Just
I really don't.
Dina?
Number 1, what is limestone lettuce?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
Number 2,
I don't know. I don't know.
and your salad ladies? Goodness, what's escarole number 1?
That's a salad green. It's a lettuce family.
Can you describe it at all?
It's curly.
Thank you. Number 2, how many sharps or flats in the key of E?
I don't know.
Number 3?
Possibly 2, but I don't know.
Sharps or flats?
Oh, sharps and flats?
Sharps or flats?
Oh, it would be...
In the key of E?
Perhaps 2 sharps.
Thank you.
Give or take a few. Johnny.
Number 2, who's Sid Fields?
Sid Fields is Ben Blue's manager.
What does the name Fred Cosgrove mean to you?
It does
Sam Cosgrove?
nothing.
Bernie Cosgrove? Number 1, you know the name Cosgrove? Fred Cosgrove?
Henry Cosgrove.
Number 3, does Henry Cosgrove, does the name Cosgrove mean anything to you at all?
No, not a thing.
Huh? Doesn't, huh? Oh. Who's Barbara Heller, number 1?
Barbara Heller is a comedian.
Number 2, does she work also at Ben Blue's nightclub?
Sometimes she does.
Number 3, who's Sid Melton?
I don't know.
You don't...
Peggy.
Number 3, where does Dan Daly live?
In California.
Number 1, number 1, where does Dan Daly live in California?
I think in Hollywood.
Number 2,
I think in Hollywood.
number 3, who is Dan Daly's assistant? The girl that stages the dances. What's her name?
Oh, gosh. Names come and go. I can't.
Number 2?
I can't remember right now either.
Right, that's all. We'll all have to not remember, but we'll have time now to cudgel our own brains and figure out what pithy information we got from those questions and mark our ballots. So will you kindly do so right now? And as you do, of course, without consultation, vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers, as is customary, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Are we set?
Is that
All votes marked?
I just don't
okay.
know.
Tom, for whom are you voting?
I voted for Toom because she seemed to know more about Ben and his activities than the other ladies.
Okay, Dina.
I voted for number 1, Bud. None of them knew anything about salads. Nobody, nor about music. And number 1 at least knew what escarole was, so I voted for her.
Johnny.
I was kind of amazed that the name Cosgrove didn't mean anything, because that's the name that Ben uses in that wonderful Swami act he does.
Oh,
for the fellow.
sure.
He can never get the name. He says Fred Cosgrove, Sam Cosgrove, Cosgrove. I voted for number 2.
Peggy.
Well, I voted for number 2 because she just seemed more Californian.
All right, there we have it. Looking down the line there, we see that Tom voted for number 2, Dina for number 1, Johnny for number 2, and Peggy for number 2. That's 3 for 2 and 1 for 1 and all for 1 and 3 for all. And we'll see how right or wrong we are as we learn right now which one of these 3 ladies is the real one. But before we do that, since you cannot change your votes, they're up there to commit you definitely, I'm going to ask you to listen to a record of Winnie Gould singing "A Good Man Is Hard to Find." Now listen.
A good man is hard to find. I always get the other kind. Just who anything that he goes tell. He'll turn around and find him messing around some other gal. It ain't great. And it's great to see him lying right in his grave. Say if your man's nice, take my advice. Well, hug him in the morning and kiss him every night. And give him plenty loving, baby. Hurry him right because a good man nowadays is hard to find.
Well, panel, before I do any revelations at all, are you all satisfied with the way you voted?
No.
All right, let's learn right now and ask the real Winnie Gould to please stand up.
And swing.
I'd love to have a picture of the looks on their faces when you stood up. I think you're entitled to that. You can't believe it?
That is marvelous.
Huh? You really can sound out on that, can't you?
Now make us a salad.
She sang her salad. You want to hear a little bit of it? Go on, Winnie. Hold it out. We haven't got much time. So go ahead, Winnie. A little line of it. A little line of the song.
A good man is hard to find. I always get the other kind. Just when you think that he's your
Thank you, Winnie. Oh, boy. All right, let's find out about the other 2 now. Number 2, would you tell us? You got most of the votes. What is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Kitty Rothman, and I sell theater tickets at the New Summit Hotel on Lexington Avenue.
And number 3, your real name and what do you do?
My name is Evelyn Miller, and I'm the program associate of the Holland Branch YMCA.
Well, we thank you very much, and in checking up on the score, we find you did all right. You came real close to fooling the panel 100%. There were 3 incorrect votes at $250 each, and that's a total, ladies, of $750, no matter how you add it or split it up. I hope you enjoyed yourself. You also received from Salem a carton of Salem cigarettes on your way out. Bless you for being with us. Good night. Good luck to you all.
Thank you.
The coldest, dreariest day of winter just doesn't seem quite so bad when you look at it this way. Now, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Pedro San Juan.
My name is Pedro San Juan. My name is Pedro San Juan.
Again, follow along, panel, if you will, please, with your copies of this second affidavit. I, Pedro San Juan, lived in 6 different foreign countries before my arrival in the United States at an early age. Once here, I attended public schools in 4 states, and then went on to attend 4 different colleges and universities. In 1961, I went to work for the State Department. My job involves the travel and reception of foreign dignitaries, the handling of diplomatic incidents, the tax matters, customs privileges, and diplomatic immunity of foreign officials, and many other allied matters. I am Assistant Chief of Protocol for the United States government. Signed, Pedro San Juan. Very well. Our next panel is all seated comfortably, of challenges that is. We turn to our other panel and ask you if you heard, as I did, that each of them claimed to be Pedro San Juan, Assistant Chief of Protocol of the United States government. Let's start this round of questioning with Dina Merrill. Dina?
Mr. San Juan, number 3. What is the name of your chief?
Andrew Bill Duke.
Mr. San Juan, number 2. Can you tell me of a rather unhappy incident that happened in Mr. Duke's life this summer?
Well, that was really such a tragedy that we don't talk about it, really. State Department, sorry.
Mr. San Juan, number 3. Can you tell me the name of Mr. Duke's brother?
Mr. Duke's brother? Tony.
Thank you. Mr. San Juan, number 1. Where is the British Embassy in Washington?
3, sir.
I beg your pardon?
Number 3.
Number 3.
What? I see number 1. Excuse me, number 3.
I don't know.
You don't know the address, number 2?
I didn't get the question.
Where is the British Embassy?
The British Embassy in Washington, D.C.?
Yes.
Commonwealth Avenue.
On
Johnny.
which avenue?
Connecticut Avenue, I'm sorry.
Johnny?
Number 1, what do the letters M-A-T-S stand for? MATS.
Mats? I think it's Military Air Transport Service. Something to that.
Number 2, who is the present Undersecretary of State in the United States?
Undersecretary George Ball.
Number 3, what is Mr. Bowles doing now?
He's Special Assistant to the President.
Special Assistant to the President. Number 1.
Peggy?
Number 1, what is the name of Ambassador Bruce's wife?
I don't know.
Number 3, who is the ambassador to Ireland?
I don't know.
Number 1, who is the ambassador to Ireland?
His name is, no, but I forget.
Oh, number 2, who's Secretary of State?
Secretary of State, Dean Rusk.
Number 3, who handles our affairs with China? What country?
No one.
Number 1?
Well, it's a little hard to get what you mean. Handles our affairs with China.
Tom?
Who's the ambassador to Ireland, number 2? Do you happen to know?
No, I do not.
Number 1, what is the origin? Thank you, number 2. Number 1, what is the origin of the word protocol?
It's a Greek word, and it's used for protocol, coming from the use of the word as the beginning of a treaty, the thing that sets the terms of the treaty before the treaty. And
thank you.
This sets the...
Thank you. Number 3, what is a syllabus?
Syllabus? It's usually a very brief outline of a treaty.
Thank you. Number 1, recently a celebrity testified here before the district attorney in a case that took place in 1935. How come he didn't testify before that? Number 1.
A celebrity? I don't know.
That's it. Time is gone. So, in due deference to protocol in our show, it's time for you to mark your ballot. So will you kindly do so right now? And without consultation, vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All right, Tom, which one did you select this trip?
Well, I voted for number 1. I liked very much the way he answered. He had a style and a demeanor that would certainly become a fellow who was working as Assistant Chief of Protocol.
Dina?
I joined Tom. I also voted for number 1. Number 2 didn't know where the British Embassy was, nor did number 3. And if you're Chief of Protocol in Washington, you know that.
Johnny, what about your vote?
I go along with Dina and Tom. I voted for 1, I think, mainly because he knew what the match meant.
And Peggy?
Well, I voted for number 1. Number 3 looks it, but number 1 has such nice manners.
Okay. Unanimity is evident among our panel right now. All four of you voted for number 1. So let's see if there's a break in the dike anywhere along the line as we let truth slip through and find out who's right and who's wrong. As we find out which one of these gentlemen is the real Assistant Chief of Protocol, we will ask the real Pedro San Juan to please stand up. We thank you, sir. And too bad. The panel was a little keen there tonight. Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Sidney Nesbitt. I'm president of Sidney Nesbitt Incorporated. We sell and lease business aircraft.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, would you tell us your real name and what you do, please?
My name is Herbert Sharp, and I'm a stockbroker.
Shorten to the point. All right, gentlemen, you added to our fun no end, and I'm sorry that we can't do better than we can for you, but the panel, you have to admit, was real shrewd on this one. But from sale, you get, as consolation, $150 for the 3-way split, and we thank you for adding to our entertainment and our pleasure. We hope you did yours, too. You also receive a cart on the sale of cigarettes on the way out. Good night, you gentlemen. God bless you. Mr. Pedro San Juan has asked that his share of the winnings be donated to charity, and this will be done. I'm sure city dweller can't help but get a kick out of a field of daffodils in the springtime. So we're going to show you one right now. Look at this. I notice that our panel has noticed, all of them, that we have something new added to the center of the stage here. That's a cart, ladies and gentlemen, used for racing sometimes, and a lot of facts about it that you'll find out in this next round. So let's, by way of getting into that round, introduce our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Faye Pearson. My name is Faye Pearson. My name is Faye Pearson.
All right, panel, you've had a look, and now let's give a listen to this third affidavit, if you will. I, Faye Pearson, am America's leading female kart racer. Up until a few years ago, I was an ordinary housewife and mother. And then one day, a neighbor bought a cart. I tried driving it and was immediately hooked. Since then, I have driven in hundreds of kart races against men, both here and abroad. I was the only woman member of the American team which raced in Europe against the world's best men kart drivers. My husband and I also began to manufacture racing carts, one of which you see here on stage. This little machine can hit a speed of 70 miles per hour. In kart racing circles, I am known as Ladybug. Signed, Faye Pearson. Ready to race for your votes? Panel, here are 3 charming ladies, each one claiming to be Faye Pearson, leading kart driver. And we'll start this with our own special racing driver, Peggy Cass. Peggy?
Number 1, what is the name of the boy who just won one of these races and won a trip to Honolulu?
Bobby Allen.
Number 2, would you please give me the name of the boy?
Sheldon Jones.
Number 3, would you please give me the name of the boy?
I don't think there was a contest for that.
Number 1, do you have to have a license to drive one of those things?
No.
Number 2, can you drive them on any road without a license?
No, only on tracks, specially made for this.
I see. Number 3, how many miles to a gallon?
About 25 or 30 when you're racing, more if you're not racing.
I see.
Tom.
Oh, thank you. Number 3, what protects the racers on the turns in a kart course?
Well, there's not very much protection at all on the turns. As you can see, the cart is open.
Aside from the cart.
Well, there are sometimes bales of hay placed on the sides of the tracks, and sometimes the tracks are marked with rubber tires. Might be halfway into the ground.
Thank you. Number 2, are the wheels standard on carts? The tires?
They can be either 10 inches or 12 inches.
Number 1, what gear system do you have on the cart?
We have it's chain-driven, direct from the engine to the axle.
Number 3, would you say there is a transmission?
No, there's no transmission on the cart.
Thank you.
On this one.
Dina.
Number 1, how many horsepower in that engine?
About 8 horsepower.
Is that all? Good. And it goes 70 miles an hour? Number 2, why doesn't it have treads on the tires?
Because this makes for more traction.
You mean stop. With or without makes for more?
Oh, without makes for more traction.
And this is better for racing?
Yes, you won't skid as far.
I see. Number 3, where do you manufacture these things?
In Illinois.
Where in Illinois?
In Skokie. It's near Winnetka, Illinois.
I see. And your husband designs them and...
Yes, he does.
And builds them?
Johnny.
Number 2, what's tailgating?
That's going too close behind the car in front of you.
Number 3, what's drift? Drifting.
I don't know unless it has to do with the wind and might
Number
push
2,
you
do you
over.
know what drifting is?
I think it means to go around a curve in a drifting byway.
Number 2, what's the compression ratio in the engine?
Oh, no.
Huh? Number 3, do you know how many cylinders?
How many cylinders? It only has 1 cylinder.
Do you know what the compression ratio is?
No, I don't.
Number 1, would you have?
No, I don't.
Well, we'll leave it where it is, whether it's 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5.5 to 1, or what you will. Time for you now to be 4 against 3, and mark your ballot. So do so, please, without any further questions and without consultation. Vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All ballots marked?
Well, yeah. Right,
okay.
Yes.
Tom, which one did you select this time?
Well, I finally had a vote for number 3. I remembered something about the way number 2 answered because it was between 2 and 3 for me, at least. And number 3 sort of faded on the answers there at the end, but she had a lot of good ones at the beginning.
Dina, which is your choice?
Well, I was between number 2 and 3, too, but I settled with 2. I don't know. She just seemed to know a little bit more. I don't know anything about engines, so I guess she fooled me. I don't know.
Johnny, your selection.
I just wanted to ask one question if we have time. What does one of those sell for? Anybody know? I've already voted.
They
anyway.
say somewhere between $150 and $600, depending upon the style, the model, and how you have it.
I voted for number 2.
Peggy.
I voted for number 3, but I sort of think it's number 2.
If number
All right,
1
let's
sings
check it
that
over
song.
here now. Tom voted for number 3. Dina voted for number 2. Johnny voted for number 2. And Peggy for number 3.
But if number 1 sings that song again, I'm going to...
Well, let's see what kind of a song we do sing. We learned the truth right now as to which one is the real leading racing kart driver. So, will the real Faye Pearson please stand up?
Get it down.
Boy, you fooled him that round, I'll tell you. That was great. I don't know why Tom walked off. He could have driven off at least. He had a cart right here waiting for it. Oh, boy, that was great. Let's find out about the other 2 now. Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what do you do? You divided half of the votes.
My name is Neil McLeod, and I'm a Girl Scout professional for the Girl Scout Council of Greater New York.
Thank you, ma'am. And number 3, you got the other half of the votes. Your real name and what do you do?
My name is Joan Lundberg, and I do research for the United States Steel Corporation.
I just got a flash that Tom booked a flight to Indianapolis. Well, we checked the score and find it was 100% whitewash this time, which means, of course, 4 incorrect at $250 each, ladies, for a total of $1,000 for the 3 of you, as well as from Salem, a carton of Salem cigarettes. Hope you had fun. We sure did. Good night to you, and God bless you, and stay safe. Now, here's how you can get relief of headache. We're hoping that the 4th position next to Dina Merrill. Why, anyone who run away from Dina Merrill is beyond me anyway. But we're going to send all kinds of wires and flashes. We'll try to get him back from Indianapolis for next week. And I hope he's a better driver when he does. Tom Poston, wherever you are, bon voyage. And the rest of you wonderful people, thanks for making it such fun, and good night to you.
Good night, Bud.
Bud Collier saying good night, and Salem Cigarettes reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
This is Harry Morgan. Confucius said harmony begins in the household. Of course, he was never a guest of Pete and Gladys. Next, on most of these CBS television stations.
To Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Salem, the cigarette that refreshes your taste. Sir Johnny Olson saying good night for To Tell the Truth. This program was pre-recorded.